Alright, so it's early morning. I'm up here at the campus. Got more phone calls to make. I got to make phone calls for everywhere. So I'm going to tell you guys kind of an update of what's going on in this situation. So the one law firm that I talked to, they decided against taking the case because of how long of a process it takes to do with the fire department. And it's kind of a crazy case. I still haven't looked at like free aid, legal aid and stuff that's out here, and there's a lot actually. And I have like up to a year. I could also carry it to small claims court, but I'm seeking more than what small claims court would give me. I haven't had a chance to write down all my receipts of the stuff that I bought, but once I get that, and then all the other stuff that I don't have receipts for, but I have pictures and like proof that I owned it, or if that makes any sense. Like the monitor that was destroyed, which makes no sense because it probably would have got wet where it was. Definitely would have got wet. But there's no way in hell it got cracked. And then moved into the bathroom. It fell from the living room into the bathroom. Yeah. So somebody was messing with this stuff in there. I don't know what they were doing, but somebody's messing with it. I found out, a lot of weird stuff, like the Red Cross stuff. Whoever that was that called me from the first time was not from the Red Cross. And then, them getting onto my caseworker or whatnot. That was real fishy whenever she told me that. She probably should not have told me that, and she probably bit her tongue after she did it, But she never, stood up and said, hey, no, this ain't right. He's getting screwed over. I should do what's right. She just shut her mouth and she went along with it. So, fuck her too. The only person I talked to that was fucking cool about it was my last caseworker, and I thought he was still my caseworker, and he wasn't. I called him. He's like, bro, you haven't been my client since March. I'm like, what? I was like, I thought, that the last time I talked to you in that video conference, right? He's like, yeah. And and we just put it on hold, right? I was like, he's like, no, I'm just not your client anymore. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, so I don't have a client? And it was all crazy, but they had my housing voucher and whatever. Don't have to worry about that now because I'm moving into the nicest fucking apartment they have. It's on the top floor. It's on the top 8th floor of this brand new building, so it's going to be a brand new apartment with all updated shit, so it's going to be really nice. And it'll be a 1-bedroom, so, I'm stoked for that. It's originally where I wanted to go, but it wasn't really an opportunity. And they were like, he was saying like they wanted to put people there that were already employed and whatnot. I was like, well, I plan on going to work, but I can't right now with all the health stuff. If I was on my meds right now and continuously, I would probably be pretty damn stable because I think I was getting there. The SSRIs were helping. I wasn't really getting depressed. But I would get aggravated and stuff, but that's just frustration, and then the hypothyroidism medicine seemed to be working too. I wasn't having those anxiety attacks, and I wouldn't take the pulse medication very often because I've read a lot of stuff about that particular thing, and I always study up before I take a medicine. But I did use it sparingly, like whenever my heart rate got too high, and it worked fine. And it seemed, I would just use other methods to lower my heart rate, such as meditation and breathing exercise, things like that. This is something else that's pretty crazy. So there's different entities involved in this, okay? So I have to go after each one. So like the VA, for example, they handled me very poorly. They did not do their job, they jerked me off and fucking had my voucher for a while, and they were keeping me at this place, and they weren't talking to me, they weren't communicating with me. This bothered me several times, They were supposed to only meet up like every 3 months, and that's cool, for them to check into me. But my caseworker was supposed to relate to them, like my progress and whatnot. I had 5 different caseworkers. There was never time for me to. They would never even get that far, Like once something started going, and I started talking to them and explaining what I want to do and blah blah blah. Then I have another one. They get fired, or they left, or they just quit. And then one of them didn't even fucking quit. She just left for like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and didn't even tell me. And that was the one working on my what's it called, GA stuff. So whenever she left, no, and I found out what was done. They had changed the phone number. So instead of GA like calling me, they called that number. And that's why I was missing appointments and shit. So they screwed me out of that too. Can't really prove that. But I mean, it still fucking happened. I sure as hell bitched about it. Then, most recent caseworker, the one that I had, I told her to do several things, asked her, to do several things for me, such as getting me a list of dentists that were on Medicare. She could never do that. I asked her several times, and then she's like, you have to communicate with me and, let me help you. And I'm like, I don't need help. Like, I do need you. I would need help to have you do some things, such as, print out a piece of paper or, but it was stupid stuff. She's like, oh, I can walk with you down to the whatever. Like, she wanted me to go to a new clinic. I'm like, I'm not going to go to a new clinic when I have a doctor. That doesn't make any sense. Why would I start up something else at a clinic and, have a doctor for things? And I don't need a doctor or a clinic to go to a dentist, And whenever she did that, it was like, it was intake for me. It was like, you had to fill out all this stuff, talking about what type of drugs you use and whatnot. And I was like, I'm not filling this shit out. This has nothing to do with the fucking dentist. Oh, she's like, oh, well, let's do a clinic. That's not what I fucking asked. Like, so obviously, I got all my medical stuff straightened out. I went to all my appointments and everything, and got diagnosed with something which sucked, but I knew something was wrong with me, so it was kind of good in a way. And I was pretty much stabilized in my health. However, the skin infection, the bites all over me, and the MRSA, which just is, you can see it right here, it's still a little tender, and it feels like there's a small amount, like kind of like infection in it, but I think it'll clear up just fine. But one of the doctors were saying that needs to be cut out, and I do believe that's the case. And that's the surgery I was supposed to have the next day, was to get this done. So the whole time that I've been in there, I had to go to the ER 7, 8, 9 times maybe. I don't know. I'm getting my medical records here. It'll take maybe a day or two, and I'll have them. And I told my caseworker, or at least the last one, I told him quite a few of them, whatever is doing this and making it do it, it's in that room, because I was absolutely fine. I've never really had problems with my health and things like that until I got to that room, and then all these weird infections started happening. Now, Graves' disease, they don't really know what causes Graves' disease, but I was diagnosed that at the same time all this other stuff was happening. I was wondering if bacteria can cause it, and maybe bacteria gets into your throat or something, you breathe into it, and it's kind of crazy, but it's kind of inspired me to, here at this college, there is a bacteriology fucking building. So I might go talk to them and see, like, maybe, in my spare time, which I don't have a lot of right now, but I will have a little bit of time to, like, maybe I can go research that. Maybe I'll find out, how to cure Graves' disease, instead of just treating it. But I thought the timing of that was, kind of crazy, because the one doctor, when I first got a doctor, and I just wasn't happy with him, so I changed it all up and got another doctor. The doctor I have now, she's awesome. Like, she's on vacation, or something like that. She's left for 2 months, but she had me lined out, and she communicates through my my chart portal, and I can't access that because it's all on my computer. Like, I don't remember the password. I could probably reset the password and all that, but it's hard to do all that stuff on the phone. Still haven't canceled my PG&E account, but I don't know if I want to cancel it because I could transfer it over. But I also can't transfer it over because I'm so behind on the bill. Now, I was told by my last caseworker, Georgia, we all know Georgia, not to pay it, and that she had put in this paperwork to that was going to help to, like, wipe my bill out. So it's just, she never put in no paperwork. That never fucking happened. So, now I'm just got this, $550 light bill that I could have been chipping away at slowly. Then I might have to, I can probably still do all that myself, and I plan on doing it. I just haven't got around to it because I have so much shit to do. A friend, can't really call him a friend because I don't know the guy that well. What you call him, an old neighbor. He sent me a little bit of money to help me out, and it was a good little pocket. Good little bit of pocket change, and man, I really appreciate that. Like, he didn't have to do that, but I know she was a veteran too, and I don't know, man, it's like, I haven't really been around any veterans this whole time, and I didn't really do a whole lot in the Army, and that's why I don't ever bring my veteran card out or whatever. Like even traveling, I don't write it on my sign, or I never did anything like that. I just don't do it. Though I did, I was in for a little over a year, but I didn't do shit but be in the medical barracks most of the time, and like do details on everything from tanks to trucks to the buildings, because that's all we did. But regardless, maybe what I'm doing can help other veterans down the line and stop them getting screwed over like I've gotten screwed over. Nobody should get screwed over like that. So so what I was talking about, there's different entities involved in this. There's the Railton Place Apartments, which is owned by the Salvation Army, okay? Now then there's the property manager too, and that's a different entity. And then there's the VA, that's a different entity. So what I'm doing is I'm going to sue the Railton Place Apartments and that whole program, and I'm going to sue them because of everything that happened to me when it was getting really bad and my whole face swelled up like a freaking watermelon. And I went to the ER. I was walking up the hill, and it's not even that far, but I just got real dizzy, and I couldn't tell what was going on, and my body started shaking, and I passed out for a little bit. Not long, just kind of blacked out for 2-3 seconds probably. Then I got back up, and as I was stumbling up the road, because I had called 911, when the ambulance and the EMTs got to me, there was 3 guys in the ambulance. They took my blood sugar. They took they pulse and all that. So my pulse was so high that I was about to go into cardiac arrest. They was like, "Man, we got to calm you down. You're way too high, way too high." I can't remember exactly what it was. And then my blood sugar was 220, and it's never been like that. But all of those things are signs of having sepsis and getting septic shock. And I felt sick all the day earlier. And when I woke up, I went to sleep because it was bothering me, and it looked pretty gnarly. And then I slept for a good while, and then when I woke up, it was swollen up like this. And by the time I got to the hospital, it was just... and I had video of all that, all of it. And I had medical records from all that. Being in that room caused it. And I know that whenever I moved in that room, it wasn't really clean. It wasn't clean at all. They'd never been deep cleaned or anything. They never offered to clean the carpets while I was there. Any apartment building that I've ever seen, because I used to clean carpets, they would do it twice a year. The building would. These motherfuckers don't do nothing. Sometimes they would vacuum. I've seen them vacuum very, very seldomly. It was bad. They replaced the carpet in the hallway, and even the people that were doing that, they didn't even know how to lay carpet, because I've done construction all my life. And I was like, man, these motherfuckers, idiots. And then it took them fucking forever just to wait, They're hiring the cheapest labor, and somebody just come in there and just do it real fast, and they don't care what it looks like. Ever since I was been in that room, I could grab onto something and would break off from the towel rack, from the God, there's a bunch of stuff. It's just all shitty made. It's just really cheap, and just it was horrible. And I was not totally I wasn't perfect tenant. I broke the door off the bathroom, and I punched out a couple holes in the walls, and I was totally admit to that, and I also tore some cabinet doors off, but it was only one on my fault. I go to open them and pull them, and they so sorry, but and I would totally work something out with that, but trust me, my damage are a lot more than that. They also came in and did more damage to the room while whatever was going on happened. They would put other holes in the walls that had nothing to do with me, so they put quite a few holes in the wall. They also busted through where the sprinkler was up here, because they couldn't get it to shut off, so I guess they busted through it and fucking clamped it off. I got pictures. I don't think I took a picture of that. I may have got it in a video. I need to look through it. I'm trying to upload some more stuff right now, because I don't know if I could really see that. It was really weird, man, but what they were doing, they would come in trying to cover it up, and the thing is, there's no fire report made, but I saw the fire department there. I don't have them on video, but I saw them there. If I sue the company as a whole, then they're all going to be, you know, involved in that. So like my caseworkers and everybody, you know, all the way up in the Realton place and with the Salvation Army. So I did contact the Salvation Army already, but I haven't heard back from them yet. I'm going to call them again today, like, you know, the main Salvation Army, so they can settle it out of court. So I kind of have to do each one the same way. Now the VA is different. So I couldn't talk to a patient advocate because I didn't really understand all this stuff. You know, I'm kind of learning as I go because I didn't understand about the things about the different entities. You know, I was like, well, who would I sue? You know, because I couldn't figure it out. So I would have to sue. I would have to take the property manager to like small claims court. Then I would have to sue the Realton place, and then I would have to with the VA. There's something called a patient advocate. Now I couldn't get them to help me because I thought I was going to sue the VA, but I don't need to sue the VA. I just need to make them be held accountable for how they treated me and everything that happened. And so, you know, like there's ways to do that. So that's what I did. And it's funny because the same day that I got a hold of a patient advocate, shit started happening. That lady called me. She's like, we'll get you moved in there. You got a new caseworker. Boom, boom, boom. Caseworker called me that day. You know, so, and he was wanting me to come out there, and I was like, I don't know, man, y'all are some rich motherfuckers out there that own these buildings and whatnot, and I don't want to, I might wipe me in the back of the head, but how about you come out here till, you know, so I can meet you? And I'm like, I'm sorry to be like that, but I think that's a real concern. You know, like, you know, I've never been, I'm not crazy. I've never been, you know, ain't no doctor ever said I'm crazy. I've talked to plenty of doctors. And the story that I was about to tell about my brother and all that incident, which I never got around to telling on here, is another crazy story. I don't know how I get in the middle of all these crazy stories, but I was actually fixing to start making YouTube on that, and all this happened, so now I have to deal with all this. When I get into this new apartment, they did offer me this apartment at Treasure Island, and, you know, it's the one that I originally wanted, but they weren't, but it, I don't know, they're saying it's hard to get in there or something, but I ended up getting the last room. Hopefully it's not the last room. There's like the one that whack people in too much down the road. No, I've got, you know, video of this all over the internet. So like if anything was to happen to me, the FBI would, well, they're already on it. So, yeah, like I think that's the first time I ever talked to an FBI agent, but that was pretty cool. He told me a lot of things to do next and like commended me on my job, which was really cool. So the VA, you know, that patient advocate, you know, got stuff rolling. So I need to get back with them, and there's somebody else that they're kind of like a patient advocate, but they can like open a case, start investigating. I can check in and see if it's updated. I can like give tips and blah, blah, blah. So they're going to investigate what happened to me and see how, like, you know, I wasn't being helped and blah, 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 blah. And my ultimate goal is for the people that are involved in the Realton place and them sending them over, such as Jorge, who was the administrator. The caseworkers, you know, I can't really say anything about them because, like, the first 3 or 4 I never really even knew. Like, I'm trying to think of how many there were at the VA. I want to say there was 4. So I had Maki for a little bit, but I only talked to her like one video conference, and she got pregnant. You know, so that's whatever. She gotta go have a baby. Cool, you know. I ain't worried about that. Then there's another one, and I don't really. It was like my first one or something. I didn't really know her that long. So I can't really remember that much about her. And then there was Kristen, who was my last one, and I only saw her like twice, which they only checked in like every 3 months. And then my next one would be the one that was out in San Mateo. And that's the one I actually called, and the only one that was like, he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I'm in another county. I don't even work, you know. So you would have been my client out here. But he's like, but they stopped that back in March. I was like, what? I was like, but I thought we were going to get a place out there. He's like, yeah, I don't know what was up with that. So, like, that was even weird. Like, they stopped him being my case manager and were holding me there longer, even though I had already given them these documents. A lot of documents come up missing in my room, and I think they went in there. I don't know if it was my caseworker who did it, or if it was like somebody else, and was looking for my documents so I couldn't like give them to them again, you know. And they were doing all this, I believe, to hold people there longer so they get more funding. My neighbor had been there for 4 years. It's only a 2-year program. They're like, he's like, I still ain't got my voucher. And then the caseworker was like, everybody I've seen come through here, they get their voucher, pretty quick. Everybody gets to a place, blah 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 blah. Like I don't believe anything that she said, like, because when you start to notice they lie and then they don't do the things you ask and blah blah blah, it adds up, And if anybody knows me personally, they'll know what's the word? I'll play a motherfucker in a heartbeat. I will fucking tell them what they want to hear or tell them what they not want to hear, just so they don't really know what the fuck's going on, or they may believe one way. Trust me, they ain't never gonna fucking know what I fucking think or the things that's going on in my head, just like it's such as me doing all of this. Now, when you're dealing with a case like that, like claims court, you always want to go to the people first and be like, look, we can settle it out of court. We can not do this, we don't want to take it that far. And you can kind of convince them to possibly settle out of court. Some people won't, like property manager. I think that he just thinks that, like, I won't carry him to court. I will, and for some reason he thinks that they're not responsible and they don't have to pay anything. I don't know why he thinks that. Now, it could be one or two things. Well, one thing is, I guess, I never signed a lease for the second year. I told my caseworker, and they just didn't do anything. They never brought me another lease. I don't know if one was not rolled up, but I never signed another one. I only signed it for that first year. So technically, I've been squatting there for 6 months, even though I had bills in my name and whatnot. So there's nothing that I could do that. I went, I told my caseworker, hey, I never signed one, and if they don't bring me one, I'm sure as hell ain't gonna sign one. Which that's not really my responsibility. I mean, I guess it is, but I told my caseworker, and they didn't do it. And that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go kind of like in chain of command. Your caseworker, you tell your caseworker, the caseworker tell. So, like, I always reported it to her. I told her everything about, about how I thought that room was making me sick, about how I was ticked off at the VA. Like, I told them everything. So if she's gonna, she'll have to be at court because she's one of the people that's gonna get subpoenaed. When when the judge asked her, hey, what's up with that? Is she gonna just straight lie to the judge and say she didn't say that stuff? I also have text messages. So I have that whole transcript, the whole conversations, all the conversations that we've had. Hell, all the conversations that I've had with previous ones I can get. And I can use all of that to show that I've been dicked around. For me to have 5 caseworkers there is absolutely ridiculous. So with the property manager and whatnot, I'm going after getting my stuff back, and I want to be paid for pain and suffering for every day that I'm made to be out here until I get into that apartment. And also, look, check this out. I got some blankets. The room is nice and clean. That made me really happy because, that way I won't be going into them, into the apartment with nothing. So kind of got me a little cart going here, so it's nice, easy to pull stuff. So I'm getting some stuff together, and for when I move in, and I'm trying to work on it. It gets really stressful though, and I'm still not on my meds. I need to go. I didn't want to change the pharmacy over because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if they would get me into a place, and I didn't know, like, if they would just fuck me off, and if I needed to then transfer them over here to, like, Oakland, because I could be staying in Oakland, because where the VA was, whatnot. So I wasn't sure what I was doing, so I didn't want to change anything. Just leave it where it is, And now that I know, I don't know if there's a pharmacy out on Treasure Island, but I'm gonna try to look into that. And but being out there, I'll have to commute out of it, and but it's kind of nice. It should be like a lot quieter out there and whatnot. I might even be able to find a little job at a little restaurant or something out there, and just have everything I need there. That'd be real cool. So I'm working towards everything. The VA side, they didn't do anything at all. Jorge, didn't do anything for 10 damn days. But now, I'm getting this really nice apartment. It kind of makes up for it, but still something needs to be done about it. Like, I think Jorge should be fired. Because he's the main one that I went and talked to. I was like, hey, I went up there to talk to somebody, and he already knew I was coming. Like, he already knew about it. And he was like, I'm going to make sure you get into an apartment, like, ASAP. And then he just never called me back. So I'm working on that too, and will be with the patient advocate and others. And then, got to deal with the Salvation Army. When I deal with the Salvation Army, it's going to be, that I got sick there, that I had 5 different caseworkers, I had blah, 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 blah. And I'm saying that, that all this time that I basically wasted staying there, and I had plans to leave, And they're not going to, I don't have no proof of this, but actually I might. No, I might. I don't know if that would be considered proof. I've got pictures of me counting the money that I saved up, but they're not going to believe I had like $450. It's somewhere between $400 and $500. I can't even remember, because I'd take a little bit out of it, put a little bit back, take a little bit back. I think it was about $440, but I was trying to save up for a car, and when it got closer to the holiday season, I was just going to super busk and just, go get a cheap car and just get out of there, because my lease was coming up to being in. So I wanted to be ready, be able to pack my stuff up and go. They probably would have just tried to keep me there. And I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, what if it comes up to 2 years, and that housing voucher ain't here, They would just keep me longer. I know they would, because they did that guy. They had my housing voucher the whole time. Like, they were I got it way back when, and they just weren't telling me. So, there's fucking proof of all this. And that's why the VA's like, got me in this room. They're like, oh, this is the last one and everything. But yeah, maybe the last one, but I don't know. I wonder if anything's wrong with it. Like, why is it the last one? But they're pushing to get somebody in. Maybe they just want to get it full real quick, but anyway, I don't care. It's brand new. It looks nice. I'm gonna try to find some pictures of it and look it up and whatnot. So my new caseworker, and I talked to him a good bit. He did seem like he was pretty cool, man. He really wanted to help me. Like, he's like, just bullshit what you went through, and and he's a fucking veteran. He was infantry, and he's a guy, so I can relate to him on that. And all my caseworkers have been girls, women, whatever, little girls, maybe some of them. They haven't grown up yet. Maybe older than me and still haven't even fucking grown up yet. Haven't learned wrong from right. And everybody knows I'm a shit talker. Everybody knows I speak my mind, and I'm very outspoken about things. And that's the only reason why I've got anything accomplished, and I'm getting these things, because if I would have just walked away and not been like, fuck it, they're not going to help me, none of this would be happening. Like, even the lady, when she called me, she's like, oh, I see you've been on the phone quite a bit and talked to quite a few people. Like, I knew what she was saying. Now, I think when she found out about it, she was trying to help me. Honestly, the supervisor was. I don't think anybody else was, though. And I pretty much told her that. I just said, the contact that I had with you was pretty good, but she thought that maybe I didn't want to take the apartment. I was kind of undecided, because I didn't know the legal aspect of it. Like, can I stay there and then still, like, go after the property manager? And I totally can, because they're not going to be, if I'm staying there, then they have nothing to do with that place. I don't have any connection to it. But Jorge tried to offer me to go back there. Like, why would I go back to that place? What? I feel so much better in the sense that I'm just out here. I feel better. Like, I'm more at peace out here than I am in there. It's kind of good in a way, being out here and being away from that place, because just all the negative energy over that place. I'm real sensitive to energies. Whatever. Some of you guys may not believe that or whatever, but I can still feel them. And I know that if a place is good, if it has good energy, and if a place bad has bad energy. When I have got all this new stuff, I put a ward around my stuff, and if you don't know what a ward is, I don't know, Google it. But it's basically a protection spell to keep negative energy and forces away. That's one of the reasons I carry some stones in my bag and stuff, in a little satchel that I have for different stuff. I feel better about taking this path and being out here in Berkeley. So, like, at Treasure Island, whatever I can do out there, I can take a bus out here, whatever. I can just hang out in East Bay. I don't have to go back to San Francisco. There is good money out there sometimes, so I can dip in maybe every once in a while, but I don't want to have to hang out there anymore. I don't have to live there, And the way they were going, they probably would have tried to keep me there for 4 years, Some of those places, some of those apartments are permanent places for veterans. I can't remember how many, but on their webpage it says like 70 are for veterans. There's nowhere close to 70 veterans there though, like maybe 10. So I don't know what all the rest of those other rooms. Oh no, maybe it could be old veterans. Maybe they're all old veterans, but I don't know. I kind of tell who's a veteran and who's not. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't meet a lot of them. And usually veterans will like say hi to each other at least, you know, like talk a little bit or something. Just like a camaraderie, but nothing, you know. I just didn't see that many. Let's see. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything else. I don't guess so. Like I said, I'm still starting over from scratch, and if I do get paid back, I don't see what he could have in his head that makes him think that he's not responsible for it, other than that lease thing. But I had every intention of staying there because, you know, like they didn't bring the lease to me, like and I told my caseworker, so I don't know how that would play into it. But I was still staying there, and the bills were still in my name, so it's obvious that, you know, I was living there. It's obvious that that was my stuff. And I just, why does he think he just doesn't have to pay for it? Like that, you know? But there's never a fire report made. So that's something really big right there, that there was not a fire report made. And then I was going to I can call and I can like go make a police report for it, but I have to be there in person. And I haven't done that yet. I maybe have to go this coming week because there's a couple things I need to do because I need to go to the courthouse. Well, actually I don't, but I was wanting to just do it in person to take this guy to small claims court, but I'm probably going to ask for more than $10,000, so, you know, because my stuff, I'm not even finished counting up the receipts, and it's getting close to $5,000, so that what I have on the receipts, then plus the other stuff that I had pictures of and whatnot, would be getting up there and then paying the suffering. And so it's going to be more than $10,000. So I got to, I don't know. So if I can't hear small claims court, you know, I have to carry the big one. But the thing with small claims court is that you don't use attorneys. So it would just be me putting my case together, and I would fucking demolish them. I could bring up everything about, you know, but property management is one thing, and then Salvation Army is another thing. So how I'm going to go after Salvation Army would probably be like a lawsuit. And, you know, that wouldn't be small claims court. And then I have to get, you know, the other VA stuff will be handled too. But that's 3 different things I have to work on. And so it's really, really tough. And, you know, I wish I had like a sidekick or partner to help me to do all this. But, you know, I don't have a lot of friends. Most of my good friends are like dead. Some of them weren't even really my good friends. It's hard. My buddy's grandma told me a long time ago, if you have one real friend in this world, one real true friend, you're a lucky person. And I've always remembered that, and it's always like resonated with me that that's kind of true, you know. And, you know, it is what it is. That's life, you know. So, you know, this guy's supposed to show up Monday at People's Park, and we're going to start the paperwork and everything, and that's going to get me moving into that apartment. He did sound like a good dude. I'm going to have to give him my YouTube and whatnot so he can really look at all this and like kind of get to know where I'm coming from, because, and I told him, I said, it's going to be hard for me to, you know, be able to talk to any of you guys because of what I've been through already and how traumatic it was and my previous, you know, conditions. So I still have mental health counselor, all that. Psychiatrist, I just haven't gotten yet because I want it to be around where my permanent stuff is. I think I'll be fine, change my primary care, but I may not have to because, you know, I'm pretty sure there's nothing down at Treasure Island, so I can just leave it there, which would be good. I use the same doctor and just everything at that hospital. It's a pretty good hospital, man. I've heard a lot of good things about that doctor, so I'm really happy with that there. Even the pharmacy's been calling me and like, you know, trying to get me to come get my prescriptions, and I'm like, I can't right now, you know, but I could go there to San Francisco and pick them up. But I just tell them, I was like, man, I'm dealing with so much stuff. I don't have the time to go there, and and I don't. But I need to do it soon this week. I'll be able to get caught up on a lot of things. I said my buddy gave me a little bit of money, and I'm gonna try to bust this weekend. But if I can't get that one key to get unstuck, it's hard to play. There is another accordion here, I'm pretty sure, down at the Starving Musician. And I could go and start chipping away, because I do like a layaway there, and start chipping away at it, and you don't get it. So that would be cool, if I could get that and have another one. Oh, and then and then put that one into the shop. Go out to San Jose, put mine in the shop, and always talk to the guy. Or there's also a shop in Petaluma. Talk to the guys and be like, hey, can you just hold on to it and give me an estimate of how much it will be? So that way, when I go to court, because that's one of the main ways. That's one of the main sources of my income, is doing street performances. So this accordion is a tool that I use for work. This would be, it was in perfect condition before, okay? So this would still be if I had a case for it. But the case was soaked by water, like completely fell apart. So I've had to lug it around, doing this. And when and leaving out with nothing but my backpack and, it got banged up and whatnot. It was damaged because I didn't have the case, which in turn by their faults. And so I believe that should be taken care of. Maybe $1,500 to repair that, because some of the parts have to be handmade. It's totally handmade, but some of the parts are not like you order the part or anything. He has to make them by hand. But this dude is a master, so I want it fixed, and I'm entitled to that. So I don't even know. I may not be able to carry him to small claims court because it may be too much money. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'll win it, because I don't know what he was thinking, how I wouldn't. Maybe because they didn't write a report and they're going to try to fix the room. Be like, oh yeah, well see, there's nothing wrong with the room. I don't know what he's talking about. I can see him doing that because they already tried to do so much stuff to me, and I thought, I was like, are they really this stupid? Yeah, they are. So, yeah. I don't know, but I just don't see how he could have anything, it just doesn't make sense. The pictures clearly show exactly what happened. So I'm not too concerned about it. It's just going to be lengthy. It's going to take time, but eventually I'll get paid. And, so I'll get paid and I'll have a new apartment soon, so that'll be nice. And I do got one more check coming. It'll be like on the 1st I'll get it, and then, that's it. But hopefully, it should be about $350. Should be. I don't know, not saying it will be. And hopefully, that can get me inside the room. I don't know if there will be anything in there. It could be partially furnished. I don't know. And I may be able to get some resources. Maybe I can get some help through the VA. Maybe a caseworker, can possibly help me get some stuff. I went from having 5 screens, TVs, whatever, projectors, to having 0. 12 pair of shoes to having 0. Fucking, dishes to having none. And they're like, oh, they couldn't find all my stuff. And when I went in that last time, my stuff was all gone and moved around. So there's no telling what has been stolen, picked apart, and that sucks because my hard drive has a lot of sensitive information on it. And they were taking stuff out of my room. I don't know what for. Maybe to find those documents and destroy them. So I just have to order them again, it was just so weird. I wish I would have documented talking to them whenever they would come upstairs, and they were so mad, the property manager and the maintenance man, that I would not let them in and they start working right then. I was like, no, I'm documenting all this shit. So the thing with the fake Red Cross person, so that's some pretty serious shit, and it's definitely involved with that. So I will be able to follow legal action and stay at the railroad place. There won't be no conflict of interest or anything like that because I'm not going against the VA. So I think it's gonna turn out well. It's just time, and I'm having to do all this myself, so it's really stressful. And then the stress of not being able to do the normal things I do. So it's bullshit. But I'm still here. I'm still going, and I do get really stressed out and because I'm off my meds and whatnot, but persevering, I guess. But I'm gonna get off here because I gotta let this phone charge, and I'll update you when I can. Monday, I'm supposed to be signing all that paperwork, so I'll update and let know how it's going. I don't know if anything eventful will happen this weekend, but I'm just gonna try to hustle, make some money, and not go crazy. Anyway, I'll update when I can later.